Hello children, this is chapter 2 Microorganisms Friend and Foe. This is part 2 of this chapter. Now we are going to study the medicinal use of microorganisms. Whenever you fall ill, you will go to consult the doctor, and the doctor will give you some antibiotic tablets, capsules or injections. Accordingly, that will be like penicillin. Do you know the source of these medicines? It is microorganisms. These medicines kill or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. Such medicines are called antibiotics. These days, a number of antibiotics are being produced from bacteria and fungi. Streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin are some of the commonly known antibiotics which are made from fungi and bacteria. Antibiotics are manufactured by the growth of specific microorganisms and are used to cure a variety of diseases. Antibiotics are even mixed with the feed of livestock and poultry to check microbial infection in animals. They are also used to control many plant diseases. It is very important to remember that antibiotics should be taken only on the advice of the qualified doctor. Also, you must complete the course of prescribed by the doctor. If you take antibiotics when not needed or in wrong doses, it may make the drug less effective when you might need it in future. And this is Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner discovered the vaccine for smallpox in 1798. Smallpox is caused by a virus known as variola. He is Sir Alexander Fleming. The discovery of penicillin was his one of the best known, for which he shared the Nobel Prize, and this penicillin is the world's first broadly effective antibiotic. In 1929, Alexander Fleming was working on a culture of disease-causing bacteria. Suddenly, he found the spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plates. He observed that the presence of mold prevented the growth of bacteria. In fact, it also killed many of these bacteria. From this, the mold penicillin was prepared by him. Do you know why our children or infants given vaccination? When a disease carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight the invader. Invader means disease causing microbes. And the thing is, the body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. Through vaccination, we are introducing dead or weakened microbes into a healthy body, and the body starts fights and kills the invading bacteria by producing suitable antibodies. These antibodies remain in the body and we are protected from the disease causing microbes forever. This is how a vaccine works. Several diseases including cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox and hepatitis can be prevented by vaccination. In your childhood, you must have been given injections to protect yourself against several diseases. And now you have to prepare a list of these diseases with the help of your parents. It is essential to protect all children against these diseases. Necessary vaccines are available in the nearby hospitals. Pulse polio programs are also conducted to give polio vaccination. Polio drops are given to the children. They are actually a vaccine. A worldwide campaign against smallpox has finally led to its eradication from most parts of the world. These days, vaccines are made on a large scale from microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases. Some bacteria are helpful in increasing soil fertility. Some bacteria are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. These microbes are commonly called biological nitrogen fixers. Now here is an activity. That is, take two pots, fill each pot half with soil, mark them A and B. Put plant waste in pot A and things like polythene bags, empty glass bottles and broken plastic toys is put into pot B. Put the pots aside. Observe them after 3 to 4 weeks. Do you find any difference in the contents of the two pots? If so, what is the difference? That is the activity. And if you observe it after 4 to 5 weeks, you will find that the plant waste in pot A has been decomposed. How could this happen? The plant waste has been converted into manure by the action of microbes. The nutrients released in the process could be used by the plants again. Did you notice that in pot B? You will never notice such a change in pot B. The polythene bags, empty glasses, bottles, and broken toy parts will not undergo any change. The microbes could not act on them and convert them into manure. Thus, we can say that microorganisms can be used to degrade the harmful and smelly substances and thereby clean up the environment. Microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, plants, and animals. Such disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing, and leather. Now we are going to study more about their harmful activities. Firstly, disease causing microorganisms in humans. Pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, or the water we drink, or the food we eat, but they can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried by an animal. Microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable diseases. Examples of such diseases include cholera, common cold, chickenpox, and tuberculosis, etc. When a person suffering from common cold sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread in their air. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing and cause infection. Then, how do you prevent the spread of communicable diseases? List out the ways to reduce the spread. There are some insects and animals which act as carriers of disease causing microbes. Housefly is one such carrier. The flies sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogen sticks to their bodies. When these flies sit on uncovered food, they may transfer those pathogens. Whoever eats the contaminated food is likely to get sick. For that reason, we should always keep food covered. Avoid consuming uncovered items of food, etc. Another example of a carrier is the female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria, Plasmodium. Plasmodium is another name of this parasite of malaria. Female Aedes mosquito acts as carriers of dengue virus. Then how can we control the spread of malaria or dengue? All All mosquitoes breed in water. Hence, one should not let water collect anywhere, like in coolers, tires, flower pots, etc. By keeping the surroundings clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. Here are some common human diseases caused by microorganisms. They are tuberculosis, measles, chickenpox, polio, cholera, typhoid, hepatitis B, and malaria. All these are caused by microorganisms, and mainly the mode of transmission is air, by direct contact or through water, food, etc. And here is a insect carrier, that is mosquito. Now we are going to disease causing microorganisms in animals. Several microorganisms not only cause diseases in humans and plants but also in other animals. For example, anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacteria. Foot and mouth disease is another type, which is caused to the cattle, and that is caused by a virus. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, etc. The diseases reduce the yield of crops, that you all know that the disease may reduce the yield of crops in plants. They can be controlled by use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. Here are some common plant diseases caused by microorganisms. This is citrus canker, rust of wheat, yellow vein of mosaic of bindi. Bindi means lady's finger. That is, you can see the green leaf will turn into yellow. And these are caused by microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, virus. And these are mode of transportation like air, seeds, insects, etc. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substances. These make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death. So, it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. How do we preserve cooked food at home? You know that the bread left unused under moist conditions is attacked by fungus. Microorganisms spoil our food. Spoiled food emits bad smell and has a bad taste and changed color. And my question is spoiling of food a chemical reaction? Yes, definitely. There is some chemical reaction in spoiling food. Now let us study the common methods of preserving food in our homes. That is the ways to save it from the attack of microorganisms. Here are some chemical methods to preserve food. Salts and edible oils are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Therefore, they are called preservatives. We add salt or acid preservatives to pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. Likewise, sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are common preservatives which are used in jams and squashes to check the spoilage. Now we are going to study some preservation methods by different chemicals or different substances. First one is by preservation by common salt. Common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. That is, we have been using this common salt for long years. Meat and fish are covered with a dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. Salting is also used to preserve amla. Amla means Nellika we call it as Nellika in Malayalam, and also raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Next is preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish, and meat are often preserved by this method of oil and vinegar. Next is preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies, and squashes are very sweet and they are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria, which will spoil the food. Next method is heat and cold treatments. You must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. Boiling kills many microorganisms. Similarly, we keep our food with the in the refrigerator, that is low temperature. Low temperature inhibits the growth of microbes. Pasteurized milk, that is the heating of milk, can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. That is, pasteurized milk is free from microbes. The milk is heated to about 700 degrees Celsius for 17 to 15 to 30 seconds, and then suddenly it is chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes. This process was all discovered by Louis Pasteur and it is called pasteurization. Next one is storage and packing. These days you can see dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. You have learned about the bacterium Rhizobium, which is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants. Now we are going to study about nitrogen fixation. What is nitrogen fixation and nitrogen fixation cycle? Rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants such as beans and peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship means they are mutually associated. Sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the action of lightning, but the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. Let us understand how this happens. Our atmosphere has 78% of nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is one of the essential constituents of all living organisms as part of proteins, chlorophyll, nucleic acids, and vitamins. The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into the compounds of nitrogens. Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by plants from the soil through their root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compounds to be used by plants again. Certain other bacteria convert some part of the and to some part of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. As a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. Here is the nitrogen cycle. This is the atmospheric nitrogen. Atmospheric nitrogen is converted to compounds of nitrogen in the soil by lightning. Lightning that will fix the nitrogen, and nitrogen by the help of nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae They also fix the atmospheric nitrogen, and the bacteria in turn fix the nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds. And this compounds of nitrogen in the soil again converts this into gaseous nitrogen with the help of bacteria. And this compounds of nitrogen in the soil is taken by the plants, and then animals eat this plant, and the nitrogenous waste from excretion and because of their death, that are again converted into compounds of nitrogen in the to the soil, and this one is again converted by the bacteria to gaseous nitrogen. This is the nitrogen cycle.